Hey, it's Mars. Welcome back to my channel where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little book haul. I am a little bit sick, but I took some Dayquil and we're going to power through this because I really want to show you these books I got. It's just a really small collection of like rare finds, at least to me. I don't think you're going to walk into many bookstores and be able to just find these easily. And I also do have one piece of book mail to share with you. So we're going to do those two things today. So don't go anywhere because you definitely want to see these books. They are really cool. Before we jump into the video though, be sure to like and comment down below. And if you would like to get more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. So let's go ahead and open up this book mail. Look at this really beautiful packaging of these red roses on this black background. So cool. I saw this sitting in the lobby and I was like, who's that for? And it was for me. This is from D.L. Tillery. She's an indie author. You might know her from some of my other videos that I've done. She's a really sweet girl. She also has like a lot of other things that she does, like belly dancing. She's really into makeup as well. So you should definitely check out her social media for those things too. But she is also an author and she likes to read, of course, horror. She's a big horror fan. So she sent me this. This is, I think, her latest novella that she's done. And I did open it already, but I saw that there were like some things in here like that I wanted to just, I don't know, experience with you. First of all, here's the book, but it's fun. Roses. There's like rose petals in here. It's such a nice touch. And here is the book. It's called Thorns of My Heart, a dark romance poetry collection. So I thought it was a novella, but it's a poetry collection. And I love how thematic this is. Oh, she's also sent some other goodies on the inside of this book, which is so nice. She sent two really cute stickers of these two like gothic girls. Are they gothic Lolitas? Maybe, I'm not sure. But I love this style. This is so fun. I love these. And there's a bookmark here. I'm not sure if it's in Japanese or Korean. I'm not too sure, but I think it's one of those, but it's really pretty. It has like music sheets and roses and a little key. Very romantic, very gothic. And then there's another card here of skeletons dancing together. And it says, "May nothing but death do us part." So romantic. This is a very cool package. I love this. I am in the mood for romance today. And there's a wonderful little inscription. It says, "To Merce, stay scared." I love that. So let's see what we have in here. It looks like there's a lot of poems. This is a really full book of poems. Wow. There is an inscription here. It says, "In loving memory." This collection of dark romance and intrigue is dedicated in loving memory of Pax Panic, my dark sister, the Queen of Green. We all love you, and your name shall forever live on. Some of you probably know Pax Panic. She unfortunately had cancer. She was a booktuber, and she did pass away not too long ago. It was very sad. It's very tragic. But she was a really sweet person, and she touched a lot of people's lives. The very first poem is a poem called Pax. I think it's for Pax. We should read it. Power in her eyes, one never to bat a lash. She is known to be the green queen, but not the kind of envy. In a room of panic, we may hear a screech of static, but not to worry, it's only a hardback book against fabric. She reads long into the night, green lights bouncing about with affright. A raw-bladed necklace rests against her chest, as she turns page after page of a creepy tale of the restless. A crochet needle in one hand and a bookmark in the other, she is much more than this deep, dark wonder. Oh, dark sister, in our hearts you shall live on forever, with green lights and sparkly thoughts to keep us in the winters. Very sweet, very touching. I'm not too much of a poetry person in the sense of like, I don't really know how to properly review poetry. You know, I feel like to be able to do that with more of a critical eye, you kind of need to know things, you know? Like, I don't really know that much, I guess, academically about poems. But for me, it's kind of like, what does the poem elicit? Does it make me feel something? Is there a beautiful visual? Does it do anything, I don't know, that kind of makes me think or whatever? Just its own little interactions with me. And that's what I like in poetry. I have been dibble-dabbling in like some gothic or macabre poetry. I'm beginning to find myself being more and more drawn to it. So this does come at a really good time. And it's kind of one of these things where, you know, a poem is only like usually a page or two. So if you want to get some sneaky reading in there, it's a really good place to kind of get that, you know. So thank you so much to D.L. Tillery for sending this to me. Do check out her YouTube channel, check out her other books. I did do a reading of one of her short stories. If you want to find it, it's It's somewhere. I'll link it up here or something if you want to check it out. I had a lot of fun adding sound to that and reading it. It was just very cool, very fun. I'm going to go ahead and start with a really cool gift that I received from Dan. We talk occasionally on Instagram, and I had posted that I really wanted this. And I was really just like, maybe I'll find it on World of Books or something. I don't really know, but I just was like, I need to get this. I hear so many good things about it. And I got a message from Dan. He said, hey, I have an extra copy. I can send you one. And that was so nice and so sweet. It came all the way over from a merry old England. So, that's pretty cool. And it is The Crow, the complete graphic novel comic. I'm not really sure what this is defined as. I'm kind of an amateur with all that stuff. But this was a fantastic gift to receive. And not only did I get this, he also sent me a USB drive of all of the soundtracks. This comic book actually has a soundtrack that comes with it. And there's a soundtrack to the movie, and there's like some other stuff too. It was just so cool. Just like, I love that meta level kind of stuff. I think it's, the devil's in the details, and I'm all about the devil. This is a 2002 reprint. I think it was originally printed, it looks like in 1981. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at what's inside of here and just see, what it feels like and what it looks like. And I'm also going to read to you a little part of the introduction because I thought that it was really interesting. I didn't really know the background of The Crow in the sense of like, where the story came from, why it was written like it was, was there any type of intent behind it or anything. And the introduction really gives us a very clear idea about how The Crow came to be. The Crow comes from some lonely void, far beyond pain, sorrow, and words. This book you are holding was a place for James, the author, to put all the rage and anger he felt at having someone he loved torn away. And it is an attempt to find order and justice where there was none. For some things, there is no forgiveness, absolutely none. That hard fact is impossible to learn to live with. The event, the split second of time that brought you to this lonely place, cannot be forgiven. No matter how inevitable it was, it took away the future, and it ended everything, except for this, the emotional inertia of a relationship that is forever, and it is all that you have left. Learn to live with that. Influence it, access it. James wrote a love letter called The Crow, the most beautiful love letter I have ever read. A dream, a vision, a real place to recover something that was lost. Thank you so much to Dan for sending this to me. I'm so looking forward to sitting down and reading this, especially after knowing kind of its background. I think it's sort of like preparing me a little bit more to maybe read into it more than I would have originally. Now, I went back to my favorite little used bookstore here in Kingston called Half Moon Books, and I just kind of went on there on a whim. I was kind of tired of working and I wanted to take a break, so I took a walk and I just showed up there. My feet just led me there. It just happens, I guess. And I went to go check out the 2 bookshelves of horror that they have. And I saw this book that was sitting in the center. It was like propped up. It was obviously like, look at me, I'm pretty special. And so I picked it up and it was this. This is Hauntings, Tales of the Supernatural, edited by Henry Mazzeo. And the drawings are by, guess who? Edward Gorey. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. Is this I was wondering, like, is this an original thing? Who knows? And I believe that this is the original printing of this. This is from 1968, and there's like 17 illustrations in here. The stories I originally thought were just your run-of-the-mill Victorian, not compilation, but collection that you usually get, with these type of things. But actually, it's not. The oldest story in here is from 1920 something. And the most recent is from the 1960s. So these are stories that, you probably haven't heard of or, don't come across them that often. And they were pretty contemporary for when this was published. There's going to be stories in here that I don't have in my other collections. He did the intro for Masterpiece Theater, if anyone remembers that. So I've always had a very, nice fascination with Edward Gorey. I thought he was a Victorian illustrator, but he's not. He's actually from doing a lot of his work in the 1960s and 70s. It's so iconic. Like when you see his work, it's Edward Gorey. So let me show you what's inside because I think that it's pretty fantastic. I also want to thank my friend Chris for helping me get this book. It was a little bit pricey and out of my budget, so Chris went ahead and sponsored this book for me, so thank you so much. Now, for the true belle of the ball, which, you know, I mean, they're all bells, but this is the one that I got really overly excited about. I'm in the same bookstore, and they do have like a small Anne Rice collection there. But every time I've been there, they don't have the book that I want, which is Interview with the Vampire. As you know, I fell in love with that story not too long ago. It was last year. I just was completely, just utterly seduced and mesmerized by this book. I mean, I'm not a big vampire person. I think maybe it's because usually vampires can just kind of be so one-dimensional and schlocky, you know? But the way that Rice writes this story, holy moly, is all I have to say. It was like falling in love and dying and resurrecting and falling in love again. It was just crazy. So, to get back to what I was talking about, I saw this on the shelf. Now, what struck me about this was the condition. It is in beautiful condition. Like, the only thing that's kind of weird is like the spine is a bit faded, but that's it. The jacket is in pristine condition. And I was like, no way. It's a reprint or something, but it's not. This was printed in 1976. It's a Borzoi book. It was published by Alfred Knopf. I don't think this is the first printing of this book. I think this is the second printing. I think. From what I was reading online, this one is a little bit smaller than the original one, but still, whatever. It is in beautiful condition. This cover is amazing, with this gothic lettering, this black and white and red on this like mustard cover. I don't know, it's just so beautiful, so beautiful. So I don't think I will actually be reading this copy because I want to keep it in pristine condition, but this is going to be one of my wrap it in plastic and put it in a coffin and don't let it out in the sun type kind of book, because I don't want to, you know, damage this in any way. I'm sure you're familiar with this story because it is one of those stories that everybody knows about. But if you're not familiar with the story, it's basically about this like reluctant vampire sort of who is trying to make sense of his world now, of being a vampire and what that means. And he's trying to find companionship, and he's trying to find some sort of sense of self. And he's trying to keep his humanity. And he's doing all of this in New Orleans, and there's like a cast of characters that, you know, he has relationships with, and they don't all share his view. You know, because his view is more human, and they're more like, we're vampires, so let's be vampires, you know? And I'm not really doing it a lot of justice. His journey that he takes as this vampire is so painful and so heartbreaking and so destructive and sad. And like every moment that you're with him and he's thinking these thoughts, you know, these very deep existential thoughts and these observations that he's making, because he's very observative and he's very smart and he's very clever, but he's out here in this harsh world, and it's a gorgeous story. You gotta read it. If you haven't read it because you're holding back like me and you're like, vampires are dumb, whatever, this will change your mind. This woman's writing is like ethereal. I don't even know how to put it. Like, you know, there's a lot of authors you read where you're like, yeah, they're a good writer, you know, or whatever. But then you read some authors where they just feel like somehow they were able to really become these characters, or they were able to understand this character with all of the senses, spiritually, physically, emotionally, like, and then also have them interacting with the world and these characters in ways that just, I don't know how she does it, but I am a new fan, huge new fan. So that was my little book haul. I hope that you guys liked it. I think these things were very special, at least to me. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And take care of yourselves. Look out for each other, and I will see you in the next video.